Great. Actually, before we start recording, let me stop again. Okay, great. So I'm glad we're connecting. I'm going to give you guys a catch up on what's been happening. So much has been happening, as things have been evolving, and we're really going to take your roles to the next level now in terms of really having you guys start to process videos and create pages and do all the things that you've been seeing me doing, and now you guys get to start doing that. So I really appreciate that you guys are taking up the ball and running with it, and that you're going to be the first ones that are doing this after me, which is awesome. We have Emiliano, who's also come on. He's been a leadership council member, and now he's helping as an analyst as well. So he'll be in the mix, and we'll start to have others, maybe Ari, others, but we're about to start really blowing up, as I'm about to show you guys in what we're going to do. But let me dive in and start to give you guys some foundational things here first. So the first thing is I want to share this one diagram with you. Okay, have I shared this diagram with you guys before? I can't remember when we made it. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we made it since last time we spoke, or at least we haven't talked about it yet. So this is the way we're kind of top level describing Uniting for Action to people. Uniting for Action is a membership organization of the people who want to work together to create results. So those are the people coming together, and Uniting for Action provides solutions. So we provide systems and solutions that allow us to work together more effectively and more efficiently. So you've seen that with the manifestation process, the nano actions, the video processing, all these different pieces are solutions that we're bringing to the table to help, support people in just really being able to embody their fullest divine self, to be able to create results on the highest level for themselves in their lives. So with the solutions, people also, I'm finding, and especially for myself, I'm finding, for all our clients, but especially for myself, that we need support. We need, so we're providing access to tools and providers committed to optimizing our results. So these are people like life coaches and meditation coaches and nutritionists and yogis and just anybody, therapists, anybody that's helping us as individuals operate at a higher level so that we can operate at our highest level as a human, right? So I just keep noticing that we're limited in the ways that we can use solutions by wherever we're at in terms of the obstacles, the challenges, the patterns that we keep repeating that hold us back. Like for me, a big one is like being overwhelmed. And when I'm like, oh, that's my default mode, is being overwhelmed, that I have a messy room and I have a messy this and my health isn't great and this isn't great. And I've got all these things at places that have been disempowered. And I'm addressing all of those things now so that I can be empowered to be able to create all of these results on a higher level. So does that make sense? So I just want to be clear, because that's a real focus and attention for Uniting for Action right now, is not just the solutions, which I've talked with you guys about in the past, but also the support, which needs to be there to help people with all the solutions as well. So on the solutions side, any questions or comments from you guys?
No.
So on the solutions side, you've seen what it looks like, and let me show you what the pages I'm building look like. So, so here's the first page that I'm building right now to make the solutions more streamlined. So what I mean by that is we're providing the manifestation process as a self-service option, so people can go page by page by page and just follow the video tutorials to be able to learn how to do it and just do it as they're watching it. So you guys have seen, essentially some of those videos. I've sent you the full videos, right, where you've seen me going through the process with people. So now the idea is that we take those full videos and we edit them down into bite-sized pieces. So like, here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3. This is actually what it ends up looking like. Let me show you here. come back to this page, but I'll just show you the step 1, step 2, step 3. So I'm breaking it down into these 6 basic steps to begin with. So people click on self-service, they say, okay, let me look at the self-service option. So then they see the different steps, and then there's a different page for each step. So step 1, create the mind map. Step 2, choose a vision. Step 3, identify required resources. Step 4, inspire and incentivize those resources. Step 5, inspire and incentivize referrers of those resources. And step 6, make agreements. And basically, you know, when you get to the point where you're making all the agreements, that's the point where you're actually able to then, you know, fulfill the project, right? If you don't have agreements with all the different pieces that you've identified, then you don't even have a chance to get your project done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in that context, this is what the process looks like, this diagram. So here, you is the client, okay? So the client and member, we're going to use those terms interchangeably. All members are clients essentially, and they're either using some version of the self-service or some version of the full service. So the client specifies and clarifies their intentions, and that's the vision that they declare. So like for Diane, you know, her vision is to have this event happen, as we've talked about. And then also, you know, a sub-vision of that event is, you know, some of the marketing and social media, you know, in particular on TikTok and other ways that you guys are going to work with her. So that's the vision. She's specifying the vision. Then identifying the resources that she needs to achieve the vision, right? So that's where she's identifying, oh, I need a, you know, social media manager. I need a graphic designer. I need a video editor. I need a, you know, all the different pieces that she needs in order to execute the plan as the vision as she's describing it. So all of that makes sense?
Yep.
And so then the, you know, Diane is also specifying and quantifying what she has to offer, right? And again, traditionally in our society, it's money, right? If we're just doing everything on a money basis, it says, I pay you for this, I pay you for this, I pay you for this. But, you know, some clients are, you know, don't have money for everything. They have other things they can offer. So whatever those offers are. And then the client is providing inspiring / incentivized offers to the resources that lead to agreements with the clients, right? And this is the whole objective of this whole process, right? Is to come to these agreements with all of the resources that the client needs. So specifying the vision in order to specify the resources, figuring out the offers in order to create and share the offers in inspiring and incentivized ways to the resources, all with the intention of creating the agreements that they're looking for so that they can execute the project. So does that all make sense? Any questions about any of that?
No, that makes sense.
Okay, great. So that's where we're at in the process. And then, so again, we've got these pages that I'm building out now, and I think I'm going to have you guys start to work on processing some of the video for some of these pages. So just as an example, you know, here's a, you know, 50-second clip of David talking about, you know, the mind map and putting things on the mind map. And then here's, you know, Angie talking about that. And so I pulled these clips out of, you know, the hour-long clip. So how did I do that? That's the process that we're going to start to get into now, is you guys actually starting to process these clips and pull out the clips and build the pages, right? So that, and I'm going to kind of give you a sneak preview before I start to bring you through the process, is besides Diane and besides Uniting for Action, in terms of Uniting for Action needing these pages built out, Jared, I'm going to start to build pages as a client of the system as well. So what I mean by that, to just kind of create this distinction, and I'll share this link, this page with you guys so you guys can look at it later. But here's a page that I'm building out where I'm being a user of the system. So here's the first distinction I want to create, because I've shared this with you guys before, that Uniting for Action is a neutral, nonpartisan organization that provides solutions to everybody. So you guys know that, right? We've talked about that before. So this project, excuse me, that I'm about to share with you, the Supporting Freedom Project, which I still don't know the name of, but it'll be something like that, is not a Uniting for Action project. It's a Jared Krupnick project. So I'm personally being a user of the system. I'm being a client of Uniting for Action to use the Uniting for Action system to fulfill this project that I'm envisioning. So is that clear to you guys? Any questions about that?
No.
So I'm being really clear about that too, because as interns, in general, what we're doing is giving interns the opportunity to work on, work with whatever clients they want within the system. Like Diane, you guys liked Diane as a client, so you're working with Diane as a client. I'm now going to present Jared's project to you, and you're going to get to decide if you want to work on Jared's project as well. Just being clear again that if you do that, it's working with Jared as a client, not with Uniting for Action. You're still, of course, it counts towards your hours and all that because you're working with Uniting for Action, and Uniting for Action is providing interns to different clients, just like you are with Diane. So you're still, all of the hours count and all that sort of thing. I'm just making the clear distinction because I want everybody to understand where Uniting for Action ends and where clients begin. So any questions about any of that?
No, that makes sense.
Okay, good. So this page is actually going to show you more of the context for Uniting for Action that you guys haven't necessarily seen. This is from years ago when I was still building Uniting for Action as an activist organization. But that was before I came to realize that Uniting for Action really needed to be neutral. So I created this video, which you'll get to watch, and I created this video. So you'll see again how passionate I am about different issues and what it led me to in terms of realization when I created the map for action back in 2018. So this video is from May of 2017. This video is from August of 2018. You'll see the activism inherent within those videos. And by the way, don't share this page because there's some content, especially in this first video, that's copyrighted. So I never shared this publicly. So we're not going to share this publicly. So you can look at it privately, but don't share it with anyone. And then, I came to the realization that this map for action, which I created, is kind of the way to diagram how we organize using organizations to take collective political actions and take collective economic actions in order to leverage our power with government and with businesses in order to impact the issues that we care about. So any questions about that as a concept? So that map for action is what we're coming back to. And here's a model campaign that I created back in 2019. And I created this whole 20-page strategic plan playbook to go along with the campaign. And this is being a model for us to work off of for this new plan. And I also created a whole sponsor partner presentation package back in 2019 as well that we also have to work off of. So here's what it looks like in terms of the project that I'm focusing on. I personally am being really deeply affected by what's happening in Ukraine. I feel that it's essentially like an assault against humanity, right? And it's a microcosm of oppressors assaulting, innocent people everywhere, right? It's getting such a spotlight in our attention right now, obviously. And, I don't feel, that just because I'm not there and just because my family isn't there, my friends aren't there, that I feel that I should be any less, caring or less involved. I see the people that are, running to the other side of the world to help, and I want to help as well. And I'm going to help in this way. And so I'm going to show you the way that economic power is being leveraged right now. And then I'm going to show you how I'm planning to go forward and what this project is going to look like. So let me just show you this short clip here to give you a little bit of an idea, and then we'll get into more of the specifics of it.
The Kremlin began its unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, many businesses are leaving Russia in protest. Companies like McDonald's, Starbucks, Intel, and Apple, an estimated 300 companies have withdrawn or significantly reduced their operations. And one professor at Yale has been keeping track of who is doing what. They also found several dozen companies have not pulled out of Russia, and they continue to operate there. Since the list has become so public, the Remains in Russia list has shortened, with more companies withdrawing from Russia because of public backlash. So to talk more about this, we'd like to bring in the man who created this list, Jeffrey Sonnenfeld. He is the Senior Associate Dean for Leadership Studies and a Lester Crown Professor in the Practice of Management at Yale University. Professor Sonnenfeld, welcome. Great to have you with us. So your list has gotten a lot of attention and has arguably helped convince companies like McDonald's that were originally on your list, which is one that you keep updating, to pull out of Russia. So my question to you is, what was your initial motivation behind drawing up this list of U.S. companies still doing business in Russia? What is the ultimate goal?
The ultimate goal is to help companies work in concert with the United States government and European and Australian governments around the world that have exacted these economic sanctions, but they rarely succeed completely alone. They need fairly universal support of the business community to truly paralyze an economy as is intended. That's what worked especially well in the late 80s with South Africa. It wasn't just that there were great economic sanctions, great unless you're South African, great economic sanctions that a Republican Senate passed, by the way, overruling a veto from President Reagan. Actually, Senator Mitch McConnell helped lead the drive to overrule Reagan back then. But they needed business leaders. 200 major corporations then in the late 80s, led by General Motors, pulled out of South Africa. It was devastating to the economy. And of course, it helped spark the dissolution of the awful apartheid system.
And Jeffrey.
So that's the premise of the economic leverage that's already been happening and is happening right now. Any questions about what I just showed you before I start connecting more of the dots for you? So basically, I'm anticipating starting to work with Professor Sonnenfeld and others to be able to start to create a coordinated global movement to essentially call out the companies that are still remaining on the haven't left Russia list yet, and essentially start using it as a teaching opportunity to start showing our society how we can leverage our collective power to create influence and exert pressure, economic pressure and public relations pressure on businesses to have them have their operations be in alignment with our values, right? So that's like a big overall overarching objective of Uniting for Action, getting back to this diagram that I was showing you. Once I realized that however we want to address issues in the world, whether it's climate change or social justice or health equity or whatever it is, the way to really make a difference around those things is to really have people leverage their power, collective power, primarily through organizations is the structure we have right now, also through the technology that we're developing. But either way, to leverage their power, with governments and with businesses, but it has to happen in a collective way, right? The people have to be organized in order to make a difference around those companies. So basically, what I'm about to start doing is start to reach out to these, Ukrainian-based nonprofits and nonprofit organizations around the world that have been working, with the Ukrainian population for years, as well as some of the aid organizations, and have them start to contribute to a collective effort, contribute both financially and PR-wise, social media, just collective, international campaign, bringing in influencers and the whole shebang to be able to start like bringing even more attention to the holdouts on the list, right? Because as you'll see, let me just show you really quickly from this one video that I have, a couple of videos here, just to give you quick examples. So this was President Zelensky last Wednesday. This is a
Les
coverage.
chars, les
Tanks,
Right.
anti-tank.
This is coverage by a French television network because he's speaking to the French Parliament about the support that he could use that they could use from the French government and French people.
Les chars, les
Tanks, anti-tank weapons, combat aircraft, air defenses. You can help us. We need help so that freedom does not lose. The world must support with sanctions against the aggressor. Every week there should be a package of new sanctions. French companies must leave the Russian market, Renault, Leroy Merlin, Auchan, and others. They must stop sponsoring the Russian war machine.
Cessez d'être les sponsors de la machine de guerre de la Russie.
So he gave that, presentation. Here's, a report from, again, the same French station just a few hours later.
It's time after business. Kate Moody's joined us. A major French car maker is the latest to join the corporate exodus from Russia. Exodus, tell us more.
Well, just hours after it was singled out by the Ukrainian President Zelensky in his address to French Parliament, Renault said that it was suspending all manufacturing in Russia until further notice. It already had been forced to temporarily halt activity at its Moscow factory because of a shortage of parts. But after the Ukrainian leader called for a boycott of the brand, Renault's board of directors appeared to bow to pressure this Wednesday evening. It said it was also.
So, it's a perfect example where, Zelensky called them out in public. Within a few hours, the board of director had an emergency meeting and said, we can't keep, having our reputation damaged in this way. We've got to pull out. And so this is a process that's been repeated. You might, if you were keeping up with the news, you might have seen that happen to Coca-Cola and McDonald's, and all of these companies were kind of resisting as long as they could until they had to, they couldn't keep resisting anymore, right?
Mhm.
So again, there's still some holdout resistors, and this coordinated global campaign is going to help call them out to have them one by one come off of the resisting board. But we're doing this not just because of Ukraine. This is a great model to use because of the urgency and the gravity of the situation, also because there's such widespread global support, right? The United Nations vote of 140 to 5 or whatever. It's like there's hardly ever an issue in the world that has so much universal support, which is why this is such a great time to use the process around this. So you have all of these. We're teaching society that you can do this process not only with organizations that are supporting, the Russian war machine, so to speak, but organizations that are damaging the climate, organizations that are cutting down the rainforest, organizations that are polluting the water, on and on and on and on, right? So again, this is a new type of, I hate to use the word, but it really is so appropriate to say economic warfare. Essentially what we're doing is we're teaching society how to start leveraging economic power to be able to start to move the behaviors of companies one by one in alignment with the way that society, wants and needs them to be, especially around urgent issues like climate change and those sorts of things, right? So this is the leverage that humanity has been lacking in order to move, those issues so far, so fast. And so that's why I'm using the situation in Ukraine as a case study model to show the world how we do this. Let's do it with Ukraine. Now that we know how to do this, now let's turn our attention to climate and do it here. Let's do it in D4. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a big part of the evolution and delivery of the Uniting for Action system that you guys have been keenly interested in. I know, Afomiya, you've mentioned climate being a very much of interest to you, and Coumba, I know you have other specific interests. So this is where, again, I want to invite the two of you, if you're interested, to start working with me as a client as well in these areas and start to put these pages together and start to reach out to different professors and different organizations, different nonprofit organizations, different corporations, start to build these standard, letters to go out to these corporations, media organizations, all of that sort of stuff. So this is the new project on the table that I'm inviting you guys to be a part of. So let me hear your interest in being a part of this project with me.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a really good idea. I would love to, help with the outreach. and communicate with others on the idea and what we're thinking, because I think a lot of people would be on board with that.
I appreciate that. And especially as we're saying it, you know, think of like how engaged the whole college community around the country, you know, how many college students could be interested in leveraging, you know, being a part of things and developing a whole network. And, you know, it's kind of infinite where we go with this. And that's why we kind of need to find these issues, because the challenge, as you know, with, you know, climate, deforestation, all of these issues, unfortunately, they're so, you know, present that it's hard to create urgency with people, right? It's like, even though the situation is so dire and so urgent, it's like, you know, people get their eyes glaze over, right? It's like, how urgently can you grab people about climate change today? You know, what is the news today that you can share today that wakes people up all of a sudden, right? So that's why, again, the situation in Ukraine is such a, you know, an opportunity. And this is, I had this conversation with somebody recently because I've been, you know, quite a bit distressed about, you know, what's been happening. They pointed out to me, you know, that the terribleness of it is what allows, you know, the awesomeness of the response, right? So this is our opportunity to take, you know, what's a dire and very public situation and step in and provide tools and infrastructure and support and vision and plans to allow the world to mobilize in a way that it's not currently mobilized and hasn't ever in the past, really, to just show the world how to start doing things in a way that creates results. So I appreciate you seeing that, Coumba, and being interested. That's great. What are your thoughts, Afomiya, about this?
I think it's pretty like interesting because I'm interested in like climate and things like that. So I think this would be really interesting to be a part of this.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that and putting it that way. So I'm glad that you guys have said that. So let me now start to give you guys the specifics of what it's going to look like for the first couple of stages in terms of you guys doing processing and what it looks like and all of that sort of thing. So here's the way I've been doing it lately. And so we'll have some kind of version of this. So I'm setting up our Google Drive to look like this. This is our new Google Drive that I need to invite you guys to, just to go back so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so within this drive, we've got Leadership Council members, solutions, support. We go into members, and I'm going to take you into Dylan as an example. We go into Dylan. So we have 3 folders right now for each client. So client or member. So the meetings, which is documenting what all the meetings that we've had. So this is what an example of what that looks like. So every time we have a meeting, I upload it to YouTube. Then I put the YouTube link on this page. Then I put the link to the processing document. So the processing document for this meeting looks like this. And I know you guys have seen different versions of this before, and I'm going to walk you through it again because now you're going to start to actually do this. So this is the processing document for that meeting from March 10th. So what it looks like, I'll go column by column for you to see. So what it looks like in this first column are links. So this link up here is the full video that we're actually doing the processing for, okay? So if we click on this link, this is the 2-hour video that. Okay, cool. Hey, Diana, great. The 2-hour video that we've begun processing here, and then the links that are down here are these segments that actually turn into their own video. They get a link over here. Like in this case, it was these 3 segments combined that got turned into this video. So essentially, you know, from here to here got clipped out and turned into this video, and this is now a standalone video. Does that make sense? So what I've been doing, and I'm open to this process actually has to evolve. I'm still not gotten efficient with it, and you know, I've been wanting to get more efficient and more automated before I had you guys work on it. But at this point, I need you guys to be working on this. So the way that I'm doing it is this: I'm deciding like the different filters. And actually, as I'm saying this, I think I've gone through this whole explanation with you guys before, right? Of the different columns with the different filters. Have we talked about this? Please remind me, because I know it's been a little while.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so then just to kind of recap again, you know, this little segment here was relevant to Uniting for Action. This one, you know, up until 1:24 was relevant to Uniting for Action. Then from 124 to 142, also relevant to Uniting for Action. And here's the summary. Then up to 233, relevant to Uniting for Action. And here's the summary. Then this piece from 233 to 304 has to do with the manifestation process. And this one also. And again, I'm breaking them down into these different segments that each have their own, you know, distinct bit of information, essentially. And this is where it's a balance between wanting it to be granular enough that we can find different pieces and then do things with them, versus not being so granular that it takes forever to process the video and, you know, we don't even get through it all, right? It took me however many hours just to get through the first 35 minutes of this, and I still have an hour to process at this point, right? So it's a bit of a challenge, and this is where I'm hoping that you guys get really good at this and you guys get into some groove and show us how we can do this even better. So bottom line is, part of what I'm doing as well is I'm rating it. Like 1 is like priority, and like double 1 or triple 1 is like even higher priority. Like triple 1, like we have to do this, like I have to do this now. That's why it's already even produced, right? So, but, and again, I'm open to different systems, scoring systems, but right now I have it where 1 is it probably needs to be put into a video. 2 is, or 1 is like it needs to be put into a video. 2 is it probably needs to be put into a video. 3 is I'm not sure. 4 is probably not put into a video, and 5 is like definitely not put into a video. And then again, the double 1, the triple 1, that's like even higher priority for those. So what I'm doing is I'm going through and trying to figure out, again, in some cases, it's just a straight, you know, like here from 1842 to 2324, that nearly 5 minute clip became this video, right? So if we click on this, so this 4 minute, here's Rico's mind map, 442, you know, is basically, again, just the straight 442 of these 3 sections, where the mind map helps define needs, and he can connect to the vision, but he can't solve it, appreciates it so much, systematizing everything, key to transforming our world. So again, I'll just show you a few seconds of this so you can get a sense of what I pulled out that was so important to capture here. So here's Rico's mind map, extensive and awesome, right? He's got all of these different things going on in his world. So then, you know, he decides where he's putting his time and attention. He told me the Eco Rainbow Goddesses is getting a lot of attention now. That's why we bolded it. So then, you know, he can decide what visions he is focusing on. Like maybe he's just focusing on the product development right now. And so the vision is, you know, bring the products to, you know, market in some certain time. The more you build out the branches, when you start to get out to the branches where you're defining the specific things you need, we need, you know, workers for production, we need workers for delivery, we need this, we need that. Then again, now what you're doing is now you're getting back onto the document where you're defining the specific entities you need, how you're going to incentivize them in order to achieve that vision, right? So basically what you're doing is you're mapping this process onto each branch of the tree. Each branch of the tree is going to be a certain facilitator type, and you're going to figure out what you need to provide to them to create an agreement at that end of the branch on the tree. So we're going to branch out your tree. So you can see where, again, this is being like really tight and a really good like video clip for us to use, which is why, that was so highlighted as a segment. And so what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to start to give you guys video clips now where I'm going to start to have you going through this process. And you're going to have to decide, like, I think it's probably for each one of these, it's going to be something similar to this, where Uniting for Action has a column, the manifestation process has a column, the client has a column. The client may have multiple columns because the client may have multiple different things that you're pulling out and you're identifying. But essentially, I need you to do your best to figure out the start and the stop of each kind of clip, each kind of description, how much of a priority you think it is. I think the other thing that I might have you start doing is I might have you start adding tags here as well. So that way we can do like queries across tags and find all of the clips that are associated with a certain tag, and then be able to go through an editing process on some of those, because that's like the next level, right? So the first level is just continuous clips out of this that we're finding and pulling out. But then again, the next level is finding this clip from this video and this clip from this video and this clip from this video and bringing them together to create an edited version to explain it, you know, using the best of what we've got from the different content that we have. So that's essentially our real main needs right now. I need to continue to build out these pages for a Uniting for Action that we've got in terms of the self-service page. Go back again. So as we go to the self-service page and the pages beyond, we've got the self-service page, and it's walking you through step by step by step. And then these are videos for even just preparation. It talks about public-private background setup. I'll send these to you so you can review all of this and see how we're building it. And then step one, map your world. So here's the video around that. Here's a little accent video around that. Here's the link to create a mind map now. We go to create a mind map now. That's where we, you know, get to the mind map page, the step one page. And this is step one, and then another page for step two, and another page for step three, and all of that. But again, all of these videos on these pages, in this case, so we pulled a page from Burge's presentation that landed on here. We pulled a page from video from Electric Token. So again, I'm just going to start to put all of the video content in all of your guys' hands to start processing it, to start to be able to build these pages, you know, as a first step. And then also simultaneously work with me on the Ukraine side to be able to start to really encapsulate that even more, to refine this one page that I just showed you, so that we can start to, that's not it. So we can start to, you know, reach out to Professor Sonnenfeld, reach out to nonprofit organizations, you know, start to organize this collective effort. So you guys will be working on, you know, an evolution of this page and more specifics on this page as well. So any questions about, you know, what you guys will be doing in terms of, I'll be putting videos in your hands. You'll be using this process. You'll be creating spreadsheets like this. You'll be, you know, pulling everything out, figuring out what clips need to go where, and essentially giving me draft pages, essentially, right? So essentially you'll be ending up creating these pages yourself and say, hey, Jared, here's step 3 of the manifestation process. And here's the page for step 4 of the manifestation process. And here's the step 5 page. And here's, you know, this page about economic leverage and that sort of thing. So any questions or comments about any of that?
Will you have like a certain date set for when you want them to be done? Or is it just like whenever we finish one video, we move on to the next?
It's pretty much going to be like whenever you're finished with one, you move on to the next, because right now, I know we've gotten kind of backed up with hours. We've got a lot of hours to put in the end of the semester here. We've got a lot of videos and we've got a lot of content that we want to create. So I want to just have a whole, running list in your hands, Coumba, where basically whenever you have time, you know exactly what to work on. You've got it all there. If you've got, 10 hours on one day, you've got enough on your list to be able to, keep busy for all those 10 hours, that sort of thing. So that's essentially what it's going to look like, because really at this point, everything as quickly as possible, right? And we've got more than we can manage. So as soon as we can, we're going to start to pull in, additional resources, additional people, start to build out teams of the video processors, the analysts, start to recruit students again. And especially the thing is with this whole Ukraine project, which is part of why I'm, putting it on the forefront, is that it's going to create a lot of support for us, right? It's going to bring in a lot of financial support from the Ukrainian organizations, which is going to allow us to hire a lot of video processors and a lot of analysts and a lot of all the pieces that we need to start doing this at a mass level, so that we can be putting out, tens of pages, dozens of pages, hundreds of pages of content every day for all these nonprofits, for all these organizations, for all these clients, for all these everybody. So we really need to start to ramp up at this scale space. And this is kind of the engine that's going to drive it for us. So, you guys are just kind of helping us take the first few steps to get the ball rolling, so we can start to get all the support to show up, so that then we can really start to blow everything up. So how does that sound to you guys?
That sounds really great.
It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like really being on the cutting edge of social change,
Right. Part of the change.
Yeah, and really like pioneering how we exert our collective power as humanity. That's the thing, is we're all just operating as if there's not much we can do. It's like, what can I do about Ukraine? I'm in Ohio, I'm in Florida, I'm in whatever. Sure, I can send them money, or I can do this, or I can do that, but it's not quite the same as mobilizing, hundreds of people, thousands of people that could just spend 5 minutes at a time posting something on social media about the shame list, right? Or whatever, or sending a press release to a local television station, or going out and actually, picketing in front of a business at their local, in their local area, or whatever it looks like, to be able to make a difference, right? And be able to move the needle around this. And then you have, one corporation, even if you have only, 20 people or 100 people around the world that are picketing that corporation, but they're all doing it in their local area, and they're all sending it to their local television station. It's becoming national news, and it's becoming international news. You see again how quickly like small groups of people can take collective actions that can result in a big change. And especially as we're creating the narrative that we're teaching people how to do this, right? This is like a pattern that we're going to start to repeat as a society over and over and over again, because we can. It's like we just haven't had the infrastructure before to facilitate it, but now that we are building that, now we can start to do this, and this is a first example for us to see how it works. And now let's start to do it everywhere. So you guys excited?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I think in terms of like the very first video, I'm going to give you this video that I had with somebody that may be a potential client, somebody that may be a potential team member. I just connected with her for the first time today. Her name is Michelle. Let me put her, the clip of the video in the chat here. Hold on a second. So let's find her video. So, and this video too, that we're creating right now, with this meeting, is going to be one that you'll be able to process pretty early as well, because this one is one that, again, that we'll share with other students and other team members, so that they can understand what we're doing and the difference that we're making, as well as this one that I just sent you with Michelle. So these are the two videos that we can start with. And again, I'll send you the links to the Google Docs, and I'll set up templates for the recording of the timestamps. And then you can just start to get to work on it. And, but I'm going to share a little bit with you conceptually, so that you can start to see a little bit beyond the processing. Let me go into some of the pages that I've created, and I'll send you, more examples of the pages again. So when we process the video, what it ends up looking like is it ends up looking like this. So again, you saw with David Here's the full video down at the bottom. So this is kind of like the template for a process page, right? So you'll kind of follow this format, and I'll show you a couple more. So down at the bottom, the full video. Up at the top is, you know, some basic information, some links to their website, that sort of thing, some summary information. Then we have the playlist. So with the playlist, it's all of the video clips that we've pulled out from that one conversation at the bottom of the page, starting with the first one, and then, you know, anybody can access all of the clips. So it's where all of the clips are located. In this case, the playlist starts with this first intro to Electric Token.
My name is David, and it's almost a year since we started Electric Token LLC. We're a Miami-based company that's predominantly focused in Web3, NFTs, and the metaverse.
So you get an idea. That's the intro. Then I put some of what's in the video over here, and I, you know, tidied it up a bit so it's, you know, edited and really, you know, tight. I explain that this is a playlist for people that, you know, aren't seeing that automatically. Then we have the mind map that we've created. Then we start to get into the sections of the mind map that we've highlighted as like the number one or the double ones or the triple ones, the priorities that should make it onto the page, right? Actually, let me show you David's actual document as I'm thinking about it so you can see the direct connect. Well, I'll send you the link to that. I don't think we need to get into that level of detail now. So I'll send you the link to the processing document I use for this page as well. So again, this 43-second clip came out where he's talking about, you know, this is how they serve their clients. So they serve established communities. They produce Web3 solutions, 1:56 that he's talking about that. Then he's talking about seeking production support, and here's 1:56 talking about producing Web3 solutions, working with influencers, and then here's what they're seeking. So this is part of the process, the manifestation process. As you've seen, is that, and let me bring up the actual document again that you've seen so you can look at it. Oh, this isn't it. Yeah. So here's, you know, the manifestation process where for David, you know, we define, so here's his vision, creating the intersection between access and community, utilizing all things Web3. So first, here's the providers he's looking for. And normally each one of these would get their own row, but just because there were so many, we kind of grouped them all together. Coder, website builder, smart contract writers, community managers, social media managers, copyright manager, marketers. So again, in general, in our template, each one of these gets their own row because whatever incentive you have to offer them may be different. Although in this case, the incentives are mostly the same, which is why we kind of, you know, grouped them. But then he's also got this different type of provider that he's looking for, the capital provider. And these actually are the resources. So it says provider here, but these are the resources in the other diagram that I showed you. So here's resource one he's looking for, here's resource two. You know, here's the incentives that he can provide for those resources. So again, let me jump back to show you how it's translated. Okay, so here's provider number one, coder, website builder, smart contract writers. And the incentives are, you know, media attention, immediate credibility, financial rewards on the back end. So what it looks like on David's page then is it looks like they're looking for coders, website builders, smart contract writers, and what they're offering is body of work, immediate credibility, media attention, financial rewards on the back end. So this is the way it gets structured on the page, right? So this is how we go from the worksheet to what is seen on the web page itself. And then also, you know, for people that can refer these things. So again, going back, oh, that's not it. So for people that can refer those things, then, you know, here's the things that they can provide to the referrers, right? So again, this is what it looks like on the worksheet. And then, you know, this is how it gets translated once we put it onto the web page. Here's what, you know, referrers can earn, okay? And then we're gonna automate this system. It's not automated yet, but this is part of what I'm programming, is that if somebody is one of these and they want what's being offered, then they can get in touch, right? So essentially kind of like applying for a job, right? Sending a resume. And then, you know, if somebody knows some of these and they can send them, then they're going to click here and say, you know, I can refer somebody. And that's where they're going to say, I can refer somebody. And then this is where it starts to be a negotiation for an agreement. So the idea is that there's these pre-standardized agreements. They click on refer somebody, they read the agreement, they say, I agree, you know, by standard, you know, as I've shared with you guys, it'll be like a 10% referral commission is going to be standard within the system for a lot. So, okay, I agree to the 10%. Now we have an agreement. Here's my refer. Here's who I want to refer. If you end up, you know, doing business with them, I'll get 10% type of thing, right? So that's how we're translating, going from, again, just to be really clear, using the processing to pull out the clips, pull out the, you know, the highlights of the clips around something specific, like in this case, seeking production support, taking it to the next level to specify what's being sought in that area, what's being offered in that area, and what's being offered to referrals in that area. And now we've got a web page that allows them to circulate this far and wide to have that support show up and have those referrers start to send that information, send those people and those resources to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So again, same process with the seeking capital providers. Here's the video clip, here's the highlights, and then here's what they're looking for capital providers, okay? So this is what you're going to be doing, you know, with these videos, again, for sponsor opportunities, same sort of thing, is you're going to be processing the videos, then you're going to be helping to build web pages, and I'll be helping you with the web page part. But essentially, you're going to be figuring out, now that I've processed this whole video, you know, what is the theme of the page? What are the subsections of the page? You know, what do I need to put in those subsections? What clips do I have to work with? What, you know, do I need to put into bullet points? What do I need to put into the specific resources that are being sought? You know, how do I show what the resources are and let people refer those resources? So any questions about any of that?
No.
So that's where, again, it ends up taking, you know, again, something very big, multi-leveled, like, let me come back to it again. The, oops. Yeah. So we get back to the Ukrainian project, and in here, you know, I've got this 20-page strategic plan. So this 20-page strategic plan, we're going to start to dissect, and we're going to start to create web pages around that plan, right? And we're going to start to create video content around that plan. And so that's an example of a lot of content that's going to get built out. Same thing for this 12-page sponsor package. That's going to turn into a bunch of different pages of content. And just to give you some more tangibility to this. So this plan, the strategic plan, just so you can see what it looks like. So this has to do with the universal background checks. I'm going to play a little bit of the video for you so you can understand where this is going. But this has things like using public polling data, social media content, celebrity influencers, television strategy, national news media. So again, we're going to take these types of concepts and we're going to apply them to this current situation, and we're going to create video content. And some of that video content is in the video that I had with Michelle today as I'm sending to you. And some of it is going to come from other videos. And again, we're just going to, it's very anomalous. And that's the thing, is it's not so cut and dry, like what is going to be on this page. Like actually, I need you to kind of figure out what's going to be on this page as you go through the video and you start to learn, like, what are the parts of the video? How does this make up a page? What are the sections of the page? What are the clips we're going to use in the video? You know, what parts of this video don't, you know, warrant a whole page just for this, but when I take this clip from this video and these clips from these other videos, then they'll come together in their own page over here. You get what I'm saying? And you too are just going to start to become experts about the content just because you're kind of consuming all of the content yourself. And then you're going to start to sort it all out for yourself and start to turn it into pages that make sense to you so that it can make sense to others. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So to begin with, you know, it's just throwing you guys, you know, into the fire, so to speak, in terms of video processing, letting you just start processing videos, let you show me, you know, walkthrough of what you've processed and what you've, you know, come to the conclusion of, and then, you know, what pages you're ready to build from that content. And we'll start to have you process videos, start to build pages. I'm in the process of creating an automated system where you can actually build the pages on your own without me building them. So again, these pages that I'm showing you from Electric Token and also from, you know, this page, you know, I built this page custom right now, but what I'm doing is I'm creating an automated system where you can specify, you know, this header, you can specify this content, you can specify this video, and then it'll put it onto the page, right? And then you can specify your own, you know, section, you call it a model campaign, and then you say within a model campaign, here's the title, here's the content, here's the video, and then it puts it on the page, right? So it'll give you the ability to start building out these pages yourself through your own user interface. So that's what I'm working on creating as well, is that user interface as quickly as I can. And you'll be able to build these pages. Anybody will be able to build these pages, and you'll be showing people how to do it as well as you're going. So I think that covers everything. Any questions, comments? What are you guys left with from all of this?
I'm super excited to start. It'll be a process, but I feel like we got this.
I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. I do think you guys have got it too. I am excited for you guys to start. You've got the first video and the one that I just sent you and Michelle. As soon as we're done, I'm going to send you a link to the online Sheets document, the Google Sheets document that you'll use. Let me pull it up again just to keep everything squared away. So I'll send you this template, and then you'll start to dive right in to do it. I think, what do you guys think would be the most efficient way for the two of you to work? What I had done in the past with the students at times is gave an assignment like this. I think maybe for this first one, for Michelle, why don't we do this? Why don't you each do this process independently, and then when you're both done, then we can compare, you know, what you both did, and that'll give us 2 data points that the 3 of us can have a conversation to see where they differ, where they're the same, you know, maybe where someone went into more detail than necessary, maybe where someone didn't go into enough detail. We can start to kind of learn from each other, with both of you being, you know, 2 data points used on the same processing to begin with. And then as we start to get, you know, more settled into our grooves, then you guys will each have your own videos that you're doing independently. Although, you know, I think I've shared this with you in the past as well. Once we have more and more resources on hand, part of the way of automating this even more is that, you know, because it's because the video processing is so subjective of where you're going to start, where you're going to stop, like how important it is, because it's so subjective, it's challenging to know that we've captured all that we want out of that video. But that's where, again, as this gets more automated, we just have more and more people do it independently, that gives us a number of data points, and then we can computationally actually figure out, the best content within the video using the bell curve of, where people, processed it, excuse me, that sort of thing. So we'll start to add all of that computational power, and going in that direction, eventually, we'll have machine learning and AI and all of that that'll be supporting us with all of that as well. So eventually we may not even need to have, people doing all of this work. It may be able to be all automatically done, by the machine, the AI basically, which is both amazing and scary at the same time, but you guys get a sense of where this is going. So any questions about that part of it?
No.
Okay, great. So I'll send you the sheet and you guys can start to do it. And I think basically in our Slack chat, just send me messages about how the process is going for you, certainly when you're done. But if you have any questions along the way, I'm having you guys both do it independently. So we have 2 data points, separately, and we can compare them both. It wouldn't make sense if they're both the same. But having said that, if you guys want to communicate back and forth just to be able to help clarify or support each other with all that, that's totally fine as well. I think for the moment, what we want to do, and this is something I'm still kind of grappling with a little bit, for the moment, use Slack to have that conversation back and forth with each other, the student intern chat, so that I can see it and know what the conversation is and know what questions are coming up and that sort of thing. But similar to all of this, just like we're going to make this video public, we want to, and I can't remember, did I say that in the beginning? Do you guys both agree to make this public? We good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. That just like we're making this video public, we really want to start to have all of these like internal conversations public as well, right? Whatever questions are coming up for you guys that you're answering amongst yourself are questions that other people are going to have about this too, and they need to see the answers, right? So that when you come up with the answers, they can see those answers, even if it's not in a video. Right now we have it in a Slack chat, but I'm not sure that Slack is the best open source way of seeing that whole thing. So do you guys have any thoughts about this? It's just been crossing my mind, so I haven't really looked at platforms yet, but do you guys have any ideas of what platform we could use as the open source, open source discussion board almost, for people to be seeing the whole conversation around all of the things that we're doing as well?
I was gonna say group me, but that requires people to get added. You mean like an open, like where anybody can go on?
Where anybody can go on and view it, because they will need to be added, to be kind of approved as team members or something like that to make contributions into the chat and that sort of thing. But we want to, we just want to have the ability. It may end up being Slack. It's just that we want the ability for the whole public to see all of our internal conversations the way that they can see all of our videos, right? If we only have the videos and they can't see the conversations, there's going to be a lot of missing holes and people aren't going to understand how we got from this video to this video. It's like they can tell that we've had a whole bunch of conversations, but they weren't privy to it and they don't get to learn from it. So it kind of undercuts what we're trying to do to make all of this open source, right? So we just have to find a way to make all of our conversations open source. So we don't have to figure it out now, but I'm just putting it on the table so you guys can know that we need to figure that out, and you guys can maybe help source some solutions or ask people or what have you, but that's just one of the things on our plate right now as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so for now we'll use Slack, but as soon as we can, we'll figure out what our new open source discussion, mechanism is going to be that everybody can see, and then we can add people to as well. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, great. So any questions or comments about anything?
No.
Okay, great. I'm super excited for this leap. As you can see, it's a leap. And not only, do you guys get to really start contributing on a higher level right away, but as you can see, as fast as we can go and kind of put some basic things in place, we can really start blowing this up in the world. So we just have to, just be as efficient, as effective as we can be, create like an infrastructure that will support it all. You know, when we open up to the world, we essentially need to have an automated system where anybody can come to Uniting for Action. They can sign up, get a user, user ID and password, start having access to all of the templates, the worksheets, the mind maps, all of that. I'm actually, just to mention it to you guys as well, the mind map, the whole mind map process, right now, we're using MindMup, as you've seen, which is online, and it's good. It's been a really great system. But I don't think it has the API flexibility that we're looking for. So we're about to start working with a system. I think we're going to work with a system called MindMeister. Have either of you heard of it?
No.
So I hadn't heard of it before either, but MindMeister, what it allows us to do is it allows us to basically take, and I'll even show you here because this allows it in reverse. We can download this whole thing as an outline. So let me show you what that looks like. I think let's just do it as a HTML, bullet points, export. So here we're taking the mind map, and then we're going from the mind map to like an outline of the mind map. So it's pretty cool that it actually converts it right there from, here's the child on the mind map, and now you've got the whole outline. So with MindMeister, it lets you go in reverse as well. You can be typing out a whole outline like this, and then import it into MindMeister, and then it turns it into a mind map. And then not only can we have the outline and the mind map, but we can also have the pages and the sections of the pages. So essentially here, this could be the page, this could be one section, this could be another 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 section, and then these can be, the different pieces within the different sections. And essentially we can build a mind map, and with MindMeister, because I can manipulate it programmatically, we can actually build the entire page automatically from the mind map as well. So there's a lot of like really cool like back and forth integrations that we can do with MindMeister. So I'm giving you a preview so you have a sense of where we're going with this and all the tools that will be available to you and to different people really soon to be able to work with all of this. What we're starting to do, and we've talked about it before, and now you're getting a sense of it too, is that we're starting to develop the channels as well, right? And that's why we're talking about even like creating tags here, because as you tag this and as you say, like let's say that this is, again, the video with Michelle, and there's certain parts of the video where I'm talking about Ukraine. So you tag this as Ukraine, and you tag this as Ukraine, and you tag this as Ukraine. Then again, what we're doing in the automated system is those snippets of content will end up on the Ukraine channel, right? So then people will tune into the Ukraine channel. They'll see the content that Jared's created, the content that Coumba's created, the content that Michelle's created. So again, people will be able to find each other just by tuning into the channels. And then when they tune into the channels, that's where they're going to find all of these pages of content and videos and all of that sort of thing. So we're going from, conversations, processing the video, creating pages of content, then categorizing those pages of content within these channels, then having people show up, tune into a channel, and then have everything that they're looking for right at their fingertips, not only the content, but all the nonprofits, all the corporations, all the everything that everybody needs to be able to come together to create a collective action together. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then with that last part that I was sharing, I don't think I might have mentioned the collective solutions framework to you guys, but I don't think we went into a lot of depth with it before. So let me just mention really quickly now. So the collective solutions framework is a solution. Actually, if you go under solutions, we only have 2 solutions listed at the moment on the website. We have the manifestation process and the collective solutions framework. And the collective solutions framework is what I was working on with the students before to really allow us to address issues at scale. So remind me, did I talk about the collective solutions framework with either of you when we had our first meeting, or we went into anything? Yes, Coumba?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So with the collective solutions framework, what about you, Afomiya? Have you heard the, yeah? Okay, great. So we're really starting to bring it back again, because with the collective solutions framework, what we're doing is we're, organizing in this, we're using it for the Ukraine project because we're aligning around that one issue. We're going to find all of the resources out there that want to, be a part of doing something about this issue. We're going to bring in the experts like Professor Sonnenfeld and others that are going to be able to help, provide best practices and ideas for solutions at scale. Bring in the strategy experts, project management, outreach, all the different pieces to go from vision, of what I'm sharing right now to, the entire executed project and executed solution. So that's where we're at with everything in a nutshell. So any questions now? Any comments?
No, I'm just excited.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think I've shared quite enough for now. So now it's a matter again of sharing all these links with you so you guys can review all of these different videos and different pages at your leisure. And then you guys starting to process these videos and start to get to building the pages. So let's start with this first video with Michelle, then this video with us, and then we'll process this video and start to build the page. I'll have you guys process it first. I'll look at your processing. I'll review everything. Then we'll talk about, turning it into a page or pages. And then we'll just kind of keep going with the process until you guys are super experts and you're teaching everybody else how to do it. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, great. Well, I really honor and appreciate you guys for, this journey and what we're doing together, and you guys being right on the leading edge of doing all of this for humanity. And I'm super excited about all the ways this is starting to blow up already and the energy around it. So can't wait to see where we go with it.
I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. Awesome. Okay, great. So let's keep in touch on the chat and and Slack, and I'll send you the links and we'll keep going.
All right. Have a good day.
Okay, you too. See you guys. Bye-bye.